Hey guys, I bet you didn't expect to be back here again. Yeah, I am making an episode 2 of this. So I added a few new things. I don't know if I showed this last time, but we have the Negev. Oh, I'm out of ammo. But we added the Negev, the Apache, the Deagle, and the DSR. So I'm just kind of slowly adding these things back. They're not fully spec'd out for their stats. And also the sound effects are not obvious. Obviously, the sound effects are not the real sound effects. I'm just using the M1911. But you can see, yeah, that's pretty good. And the spray patterns are added as well. So let's go ahead and throw on this one and this one. So this one. That one has sound effects right there. Oh, yeah. So this guy's really accurate. The apex of the spray pattern is pretty tight, but it's not going to do a lot of damage. All right, this one is the Deagle. This one kind of goes up and to the right really drastically. So you can kind of see the bullets spraying that way. But it does a lot of damage. Okay, and then we have the DSR. This one's by far my favorite. I don't think I showed it last time. I might have. But it does like a little side thing, like you were pulling the hammer. And then there's no scope yet. I haven't added the scope system, but that will be really easy. So today I was thinking what we do is add the Famas. So, and then I'll just kind of like go through all the steps that I do to add one, just so you can see kind of that process. It's kind of interesting process. So here's the model, and obviously I didn't make it. This is by Benny. And we can kind of look around. This is the lower res version. We have another version for the other pack that's super detailed, but we decided to go with like a lower poly, and some of the models are still subject to change. Anyways, so we're going to convert this to one element per surface, and what that does is it generates one texture that's 256 by 256 and the model. So we're going to click export, and we're going to export to desktop Famas. Okay, so we're in the resource pack, then we're going to go to models, item, carrot on a stick. Carrot on a stick is what we use for this. And then we also go here and we make a new folder for Famas. I just do it with one M. I'm pretty sure it's two M's, but that's how I've always spelt it. So that's how I'm going to do it. Then we go down here. See this? We just copy the last line. Well, we'll do one line for now. You'll see what I mean later with all these intermediate lines, but that's kind of how the firing thing works. So we do Famas, change it to a 9. There we go. Then we go item, then go back to here, go to text. Oh, did I put that in there? Models, item, Famas. Nope. Okay, so rename this to default. Default means the default texture skin for that thing. Pull up another one, copy this guy, pull up that one, paste it here, rename it. And the reason I have this folder structure is it's to support better like skins for them. So that's why it's kind of designed like this. So custom, then we make one for Famas. Then we throw this in here, rename it to default. And then we can go on to actually coding it. So if I do F3T, okay, so here we go. We have the Famas, and it actually needs GUI light on it because it looks weird in the GUI right now. I'll fix that later. But it's in the game. Now we have to make it work. So this is where the magic happens. So all I do, I go type, then I add a new folder here. So, well, I'll copy one that it's similar to would be Scar. So I'll copy Scar. And then I'll rename it to Famas. Then I'll enter this folder. Then we have these things. Okay, so stats, we'll go into stats. This one's always one of the most important. And then I'm going to quickly run through these files and replace the word Scar with Famas. Okay, and then I'm going to pop open the directory, the last thing, and add it to the list. So this one is the Famas, and go here. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit some stats of this, and then I'll add it so that I can actually get the thing. So what we're going to do is it auto fires 4. We're going to make it auto fire 3. the delay between each shot, we're going to make 2 ticks, and then the cooldown will be 5 or something like that. And that should make it have a burst, and I'm not going to change any of the stats. The other stats are really complicated, but I'll briefly explain what they do. So you have damage, that's just damage. Range is how far it goes, divided by 2. So this would travel 45 blocks. Auto fire is how many times it shoots per click. Auto delay is how long it takes between each fire. Cooldown is how long till you can fire again. So actually, no, this would probably have to be like, but like keep in mind the cooldown is only starts after the auto fire is done. So if I make this 5, then after the 3rd shot is fired, then it does 5. Spray deviation is randomization in the spread. Spray cooldown has to do with like how long you have to wait until your spray pattern starts to go back to the normal. Clips, the clips is how much is in a clip, how much is in a clip max, how much is reserve, how long it takes to reload, how many times it reloads. So this is for like repeatable stuff like shotguns. Fall off null is how far that it can travel without losing any damage to distance. Fall off distance is how far it will be at the minimum. So after 70 blocks, it will reach the minimum, and the minimum would be 20 damage. Target loss is how much you lose per target you hit. Headshot, leg shot, body shot are just multipliers. And then there's some other invisible stats that have to do with like wall bang stuff. So there's quite a few stats to mess with here. So we're going to add this thing to the game real quick. So in order to add it, we have to go into this thing, and it's pretty simple. We just have to go to place, by wall, and copy the scar to the Famas. And then Control H scar with Famas. And then change this to a 9, ID 9. And that's it. So if I type reload, give me a command block and run function editor place by wall Famas. It will put the Famas there, but it's not exactly correct. I accidentally forgot to delete this one. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. If I break the block behind it, the item will disappear. And then also what? This needs to say Famas. And yeah, so let's go ahead and do reload. Function cod editor place by wall Famas. Okay, so there we go. We have the Famas. Now let's go ahead and get it. So now we have it, but it's like shifted down, and that's because it's a problem with the resource pack. So we'll have to go back and fix that later, but let me right click and see what happens. Okay, so you saw 3 bursts. And you can kind of see it bursting. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now for the now I'm going to add in an M1911 sound effect just for the sake of seeing what it's like. So let's go to type Famas, and let's add the M1911 sound effect. So we know that it's happening. Okay, so we reload. Now you can kind of hear how it is. So let's go ahead and reload. Oh yeah, that's bursting. See, it's just that easy. It's just that easy to add something. Now I can add the spray pattern, and that will be kind of the last step. So I'll come back with that. So making a spray pattern is kind of easy. You just have to draw it on this and then define the pixels such that the darkest is the starting one and the lightest is the ending one. And then at some point it will loop, and you can designate that. So with the Famas, I want to make it very simple. So I'm just going to go with a very light kind of, maybe we group them in 3s, right? So we'll do like 3 here. And then we'll jump a bit, right? We'll jump a little bit, and we'll go like 3 here. And then we'll jump a bit, and we'll go like 3 here. And that should be it. And then it'll just repeat these top 2. Or maybe, no. Then we'll jump a bit, and we'll go like 3 here. Okay, and I know it looks like chaos, but when we do the G, so where did we put it? Okay, so here, then we just turn the G down a little bit, and we go here, and then we turn the G down a little bit, and we go here, and we just keep adjusting to kind of work our way backwards. Just coloring this thing in. Easy does it. Easy does it. Not too much. And you really don't need to worry about the colors being like exactly right. It needs to be just one color different on the G scale. And there you go. So we save this spray pattern, save it, okay. Then, okay, so here's the spray pattern plotter. It's very simple MATLAB scripts. It basically just opens the image, gets the pixels positions that are colored green at any amount. Anything that's not white it gets. And then it sorts them in order of most green to least green, and then extract those as commands. So if we're gonna run this guy, it'll generate a MC function file basically. And we can go here. Wait for it, and there you go. Spray pattern.mc function file. And here it gave it to us. So we just copy this into ours. And it does not generate the loop condition. So at 12, we're going to go back to, we have 12, 10, 11. 10, 11, 12, right? 9, 8, 7. So 6, 5, 4. 3, 2, 1. So maybe we'll go back to 3. So then there's the 3 looping things that it does at the end, which makes it a little bit complicated to use, but at least each burst is pretty close together. So then we also have animation frame, and that is going to be the very last step, being making this thing animate. So we can go ahead and get rid of the MATLAB stuff. Get out of here. Bye-bye. Close, close, close. Okay. So now if we go back to the game, and we reload everything, it will have its own spray pattern, exactly like how we defined it there. I didn't mention, but 1 pixel correlates to about 0.14. It's like around like 2 degrees or so variation. It's hard to really measure because it depends on the distance. The further away you are, obviously, the wider the spread is going to be. So there's just spray pattern right there. You can't really see it all that well, but you can see the bullets kind of clustering together in little crescent moon shapes. But again, it's something that you'll feel when you're playing, but it's hard to like 100% make out what's going on when you're just looking at it. But these things can always be tweaked. And the last thing is animation. Now, animation I'll probably won't cover, but it's something I add kind of at the end. But essentially, I just have to go into the resource pack and change the way it rotates. So it still references the parent model. It just rotates a bit. So this is one of the animations for the scar. The scar animation refers to the parent scar, and then it tells it a different way to rotate when it's in your right hand. And then inside here, you can see that the scar has values, so 2 and 1. And then inside the file, I'd specify which is a frame. So for some of them, there's time between the frames. So if we go down to the DSR has... It does a frame at 8 ticks and a frame at 4 ticks. So basically, we just have a scoreboard that counts down. We set it to say like 12. Actually, has a lot of frames. Has 5 frames. So we set it to like 16, and then we update it to the 16th frame number 16, and we do the whole loot table thing, and then we wait, and then this file will tell you like, oh, this is a frame that we want to load. So then we would do like 12 is a frame we want to load, 8 is a frame we want to load, 4 is a frame we want to load. And then it'll load those at the incremental times. So the overall time it takes is 16 ticks for this animation, but it only loads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. And you can see that happening pretty clearly with this. You can see it kind of bobbing. And you can see that pretty clearly with, I don't know, I added it for this, you can see. And you can see it, this one kind of has like one I need to fix. But yeah, the animation frames are like a last touch thing. Which is why I won't be showing it. But anyways, that's how I go. That's kind of my process of adding something. I added the Famas today in code. I still need to add the audio. That's pretty easy. And I want to get like some new cleaner sound effects. And then I also need to add the animation. Again, animations are kind of like a last touch thing. They're not too complicated to add, but they're a little tedious. Anyways, that's all for today's devlog. Kind of just adding something to the game. You can kind of see it's pretty simple. You really have one folder with a couple functions to deal with. And now the thing will show up in the mystery box as well automatically. It'll work for Pack Punch automatically. But yeah, so you tweak some stats. You mess with like basically 1 or 2 function files. You add a spray pattern, and you add the model, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.